Hey guys, how's it going? Connie here, also known as Smoothie Snapper, with a really quick video. So, Jake over at Pop Mortem recently did a video, one of his rolling shorties, from a collection called A Shocking Thing, and the story was Lunkadoo. As he was going through the titles, there was a story that caught my attention called The Snail Watcher. And I said in the comments that, this sounded interesting. So, Jake, sorry, mate, but I have read it, and here are my thoughts. So, The Snail Watcher is a very short story written by Patricia Highsmith about a man called Mr. Peter Noppert, who inexplicably becomes obsessed with snails. And he apparently watches them mate, or not apparently, he watches them mate, and he's completely intrigued by this. He's spellbound by the act of mating snails. There's, for a 9-10 page short story, it's almost 2 pages describing how snails mate. I have no idea if it's accurate, but I'm going to assume Patricia Highsmith became an expert in snail mating for the story, because she describes it in detail. He becomes obsessed with snails and watching them mate, and his wife refuses to go into the study anymore because she stood on a snail. I'm going to assume barefoot. It says he lost interest in watching the mating, but he was always fascinated with watching the eggs hatch into more and more snails. And he's a stockbroker or something. See? And apparently the tranquility of watching the snails, their whole reproductive cycle, brought peace, and he ended up performing really, really well at work. And, he was so engrossed in work, he forgot to go into his study, which was the snail sanctuary, for lack of a better word. And I am going to spoil it. It's a short story. He goes up into his study, and Patricia Highsmith goes into really good detail, describing literally the tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of snails that have taken over this room, to the point that there are no corners or sharp edges left in the room. It feels like it's the inside of a rock or a cave. She says rock. And he is annoyed that they're all over the roof and the ceiling, and he tries to get them down. And he's like, the sprinkler will move them off the ceiling. But it was already described earlier in the story that when he uses the sprinkler, the snails come to life and they're really excited. So he does so. And they all start to drop on him. And he suddenly can't yell because, the atmosphere of the room is stifling and it's suffocating, and he realizes he can't open the window because they've all glued it shut, because they all just sit along the window track. And as he's going to the door's already been shut behind him by just the tidal wave of snails, and then they crawl all over his body and then over his eyes, sealing his eyes shut, eventually in his mouth, and he suffocates and dies. Sounds like a very disgusting way to go. Sure, I wasn't certain about what I thought of the story because of the 2 pages worth of describing snail mating. But for a short story, it's really cool. That's the video, that's the story. The Snail Watcher by Patricia Highsmith. Again, Jake, thank you for sharing, the existence of that story with me. I hope you don't mind that I grabbed it and decided to do a video. Enjoy what you're reading, guys, and enjoy life. Until next time, thank you.